Hello everyone, Tommy Girl with you once again for another episode of Let's Play Riven, sequel to Myst. And it is a little noisy up here. You notice it's very windy or something. Interesting. But in the last episode, we explored this gold dome a great deal, pretty much. And we're able to get over here to this, another one of these book domes that Gen has. And we kind of realized, maybe we do have enough information to figure out this number system here. Now, this is what we know. We have Gen's journal entry, which has 5 numbers. Only one that we know with the 1 through 10 that we figured out from the schoolroom. And let me bring up Gen's journal where he writes the code. And let me also bring up the 1 through 10, the Dunny 1 through 10 that we discovered from the schoolroom. As you can see, only one of the numbers is the same, which is 2. And Gen's journal makes sense, goes left to right. So if you look at these things on the slider here, you notice that the code has to go up. Like, we know the first one is 2. The next one can't be lower than 2 because you can't put the slider lower than 2. And I'm gonna have to assume that left to right, that's the code. So each number must be higher than the last. And it looks like there's 5 of these sliders. Yes, there's 5 total. Just like there are 5 numbers. So let's look at the code. We know the first one's 2, and then after that we have some numbers we don't recognize. So this is really complicated to explain, so I'm going to try to pull up some graphics to figure out how we can decipher the code, if you will. Now let's think about a normal number system, shall we? Say, we'll take 1 through 25 in our number system, because these notches, there's only 25 of them. When you got 1 through 9, which are single numbers, and then you've got 10, which is 2 numbers, a 1 and a 0. I'll bring up our numbers, why not? So because you've got like a tens place, and then you use the same numbers. You use 1 through 9 once again, 11, 12, 13, 14, and the numbers kind of change over. You change the tens place every 10. It's a base 10 system. So we could try to do something similar with what we've got, because we've got 1 through 10. And to do that, we would have to take, we could take the number 10, which is the one with the hump at the bottom there. I'll put like a circle around number 10 so you guys can see. And you could put like a 1 next to it. But if you look at Gen's journal, all of his numbers are 1 symbol apiece. So maybe we could overlap, take 10, and say, let's put Dunny number 1 overlapping with Dunny number 10. That's 11. Well, that's not one of those numbers. It's 12. No. 13. No. 14. Oh. Yeah. That looks like the second entry of Gen's journal. Okay. And you can keep doing that in this way. And you can get up to 14 using this method, but that's actually not the best way to break the system, because it falls apart at a certain point, and it doesn't work for deciphering the other ones. It does work through 1 through 14. So let's think about this in a different sense, instead of a base 10 system, which is what our number system is. What number have we been talking about a lot here on Riven? Well, since this is the age of 5, we've been talking about 5 a lot. Gen is obsessed with 5. So many puzzles we've noticed 5 everywhere. There's 5 things to unlock this. So what if we, instead of a base 10 system, we made this a base 5 system? And you say, well, okay, so what would we do though? And that's the tricky part with this number system. I find the best way of thinking about this, I'm going to bring up a graphic, is thinking of it in columns. And you can start to see some of the pattern. You see 1 through 5. And then as you see 1 next to 6, 6 is 1 and 5 on top of each other. 7 is 2 and 5 on top of each other. 8 is 3 and 5 on top of each other. 9 is 4 and 5 on top of each other. But the pattern breaks at 10. So you have to figure out, well, why is the number different at 10? And that is really the key to figuring out this puzzle. This puzzle's main challenge is figuring out, okay, how do you make the leap from 1 through, the 1 through 10 numbers that we have to the additional numbers. And it turns out, if you look at the numbers 1 and 5, 5 is 1 turned sideways, if you can see that. 10 is 2 turned sideways. So that's an interesting pattern, and as you can see, as we already explained, 1 and 5 is 6, etc., etc. So what if we took the symbol for 10, just like we were before when we were thinking of it as a base 10 system, and get 10 plus 1 is 11, 10 plus 2 is 12, just put them on top, just like we were doing 6 through 10. 10 plus 3 is 13, 10 plus 4 is 14. And this is where we can actually get further in the puzzle. Well, if 5 is 1 turned sideways, and 10 is 2 turned sideways, then 15 should be 3 turned sideways, because 3 times 5 is 15. So if we take the 3 and turn it sideways, you get 15. And then once again you can overlap 15 with 1 on top of it, 16. And you keep going, as you can see down the columns. And to get 20, 4 turns sideways, because it's 4 times 5 is 20. And then you could do the same thing to 21, 22, 23, and overlapping. So, by using that system, and as you can see all the numbers now. I'm going to pull up Gen's original journal code again. And now you can figure out what all the numbers are. And the code for this is 2, 14, gotta pull this further, 10, 14, 15, right next to each other, like that, 17, and 22. And one thing about this code here, this code is different for every game. So this, if you go into your own game of Riven, chances are, if you try to put this code in, it's not going to work. So you have to figure out, all of the numbers, 1 through 24, in order to figure out this code. And it's never going to be that all the numbers are below 10, I don't believe. Now, there is one weird thing that can happen, and this has never happened to a game for me, but it can happen. You might get a symbol that looks like this, and I'll put it up there. That is because once you hit 25, the pattern breaks. You can't figure out 25 from this pattern. And actually, in this number system, you don't really find this out in this game. But this is where you start seeing multiple symbols next to each other, like we saw in Gen's journal. Or there's also an additional symbol for 25, which has an X through it. And I'll throw that up. That's just another way that they can denote 25. But you can also switch to the 2-number system, and I'm not very familiar with it because it's not important for this game. But if you get that in your game, that means it's 25, but you don't really need to know that necessarily, because if you figure out 1 through 24 and none of them match, then you know your last number is 25, especially if it's the last number, because 25 has to be the last number if you actually get it. So I hope we got it right. I spent some time trying to make sure I deciphered that properly beforehand, and tried to explain it to you guys the best I could. It's probably one of the more visual puzzles when it comes to explaining things. Like, if push comes to shove, and I have a hard time showing you the graphics, I might actually show you my journal entry and explain it. But it's very complicated to figure out that leap. How do you get from 1 to 10 to all of them. And it's very difficult to leap. So, here is, and you can see, here's the number system. Now, the numbers here are, let me look at my journal here, 9 and 8. But I don't think that means 98. So it actually means something different. It takes some math, and I'm not going to do that right now. Alright, so we've opened this, and we can't link. And just as we suspected, Catherine's journal stated that we may have to power something before trying to link anywhere. Oh. How do we turn around? Oh, okay, we have to hit that button down there. I forgot about that. So, as we suspected, the journals are not currently powered, which means we have to probably use the gold dome to power that. Ugh. More puzzles. But actually, I don't mind this puzzle nearly as much as the number one. And as you can see, you see this pull here? This pull goes back to the dome, and actually all of the spinning domes go back to the gold dome, showing that the gold dome sort of powers them all. So let's go up. The next place we need to go is Plateau Island. And the reason we need to do that is because we need to figure out where all the domes are on the various islands in order to solve the powering up puzzle, as I've been calling it, the dome, this gold dome puzzle. And so we're gonna go ahead and try that. I think the quickest way to do this, actually, it's not that way, is to take the walkway back to Crater Island and then take the tram all the way to Plateau Island. See? Nice little shortcut there. We needed it for just more than just a shortcut, though. But nice nonetheless. It's very quiet over here. Alright, we need to actually go through Gen's laboratory. Oh, please. Hopefully no one please be in there. Oh gosh. Okay. Alright, he's not here. Phew. Okay. Oh. This is interesting, though. Look. Earlier, and I'll bring up a picture of this. Earlier, there was a pipe and a gun here, and it's not here anymore. So that means somebody's been here since us. That's alarming. So since we were last here, there has been some activity over here. Oh, I need to call back. Can I call it back over here? Actually, I'm not sure. Let me see. Okay, it's not there. Let me go call back the tram. I forgot. I'm sorry. Alright, I'm trying to go through this kind of quickly because the traveling does take some time. Oh, in the original game, it used to be a 5-disc game. So every time you switched islands? Okay. Every time I switched islands, or every time you would have to switch islands, you would have to switch discs, which was very irritating. I think this game benefits from being digital very much. It keeps you from interrupting the sort of flow of the game. Alright! Once again, this is another tram ride that we've seen. So I'm going to cut past this traveling sequence, although this one is substantially shorter than a lot of the other ones. Alright, onward. And we've skipped. Ta-da! I always feel really fancy when I do that, like I have the control. Alright, so I'm hoping we can find all the information we need here. I don't know if we will be able to, but this makes the most sense for the sort of grid that we're looking at. So let's go up. This is a rather short animation, so I'm not going to skip this. It's very beautiful. I like the music here. It's very soothing. Alright, as the music stops. See, See this grid here? And I apologize. In the last episode I said I was going to pull up a picture of it, and I didn't. But this grid is the same basic grid as the one in the Gold Dome. It just doesn't have the mini little squares. And right now, the one for Jungle Island is set. So let's go back here and see if we can find the dome on Jungle Island. Because look, see? 5x5. This is a mini 5x5 one. Same, I think, same red lines and everything. And this is one square, and this is a bigger 5x5 grid. As you can see, it's very fitting. So, let's see. It's going to be tricky. And this is the way we want it to be. But let's see if the dome is over here. This is probably going to be the toughest one for us to find. Because it's kind of a complicated big island. But oh, goodness. Now, with this part, worst case scenario, I will do a little bit of fast forwarding to the part where you actually find the dome. This could be the dome. In fact, it is the dome, yes. Okay, so let's put this the direction. Good, we got fairly lucky. We didn't have to do that for too long. So, let's make sure we look at... Now, I suggest, if you play this game, making a 5x5 grid just like the one we saw on the dome. And making sure you take note, okay, so it is the lower left-hand corner, kind of one up, one to the right. Just look at the screen. I don't want to have to explain exactly. But it's in that square, and then within these little squares, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and 1, 2, 3, 4 across. Yes. That's what it is. So, I'm going to put it, oops, I just turned it all the way around. I'm sorry. No, I want it to be this way. I want to make sure. Yes. Okay. And the color dome that is associated, the color that's associated with this dome, I think we found this out. Let's see. We're on Jungle Island. This one was red, the symbol red when we opened it. So. Alright, let's do the next island. Alright, so we skip those animations. We don't need to see those. Alright, that is going to be the most complicated island, I think, to find the dome. Hopefully we don't have any really challenging ones. Alright, we know where the dome is. It's not in this area. This is Plateau Island. It's not this area. We know it's in the back area, which is this little bottom of the L. I think this might be it. Yes. No. I think this might be it right here. It's a little tough to tell, actually. I'm going to try the other one. Oh, that's because it's right there. Alright. Now, how many over? You have to have pretty good spatial awareness, I think, for this puzzle. You know, the turning around can be a little confusing. But it looks like it's one. I'm going to turn it back its original way. And the nice thing is this one's all the way over one way, so it's a little easier to tell. So it's all the way in the edge, and it's 2 up, it looks like. Yes. Yes, two from the, like 1 from the top, and then all the way at the edge. And the color associated with that one was orange. So, that is where we'll want to put the marble there. Alright. And I might even try to bring up a grid of the other. This is another one that's complicated to explain. This is probably the episode I've been dreading the most of the LP. I like explaining stuff, but it's very challenging with my voice to try to explain some of these puzzles. And so I'm going to do my best to bring up things and make it easier. Oh, well, this one's really easy. Look, see there's the hole in there? If you remember, this is Crater Island. And Crater Island has the spinning dome was underground. And this is actually where it is. So, Crater Island, it is 4 down, 2 over. I feel like I'm playing Battleship. And what color? Do we know what colors? Oh, we actually don't know what color is associated with Crater Island. That was the light that was burnt out. But we have the symbol. It's like a circle with a straight line through it. And we might be able to, with process of elimination, figure out which marble that is. But that's currently an unknown color, but we know the spot it's supposed to go. Alright, what else do we have here? Alright, we'll skip those animations. But as I was saying before, I will try to bring up various visual cues to try to assist the explaining in this, because it gets a little complex from just talking. So let's see. This one is Temple Island, as you can see by the giant dome. And the spinning dome is pretty close to the giant dome. Aha, there it is. Excellent. And it looks like this one is in the upper left. I think it's all the way over there. It is. So that's actually an easy one to map out. Yeah, see, that's the big square it's in, and then the little square. And then we have one more, which is the island we haven't been to, the unknown 5th island. Ooh. Alright. I actually really like this puzzle. I feel like it's an interesting code system that Gen has developed. Now, it's very convenient for him to leave the answers for us to find. But, you know, like most of us just leave an answer for us, like a password for ourselves on our desktop somewhere or something. So this is much more complicated to figure out. But the dome here on this unknown island is right up here toward the left side, one to the right, and all the way to the top. So that's, we actually don't know what color that dome is because we haven't opened it. According to our journal, it could be, the colors we have unassigned currently are blue, yellow, and, oh, the unknown color wouldn't count, so it could be blue or yellow. Which means, by process of elimination, the unknown color would be purple. So that's actually really helpful. Alright. I think that's all the information we need. So let us move on. Now, one small criticism I could launch at this puzzle, because I do like it overall, but I did find, if you're not careful when opening the domes, and you're just mashing the button, and you're not paying attention to what the gold symbol is when you open it, and if you do this with all the domes, you're really going to hurt yourself in the long run when you try to figure out the color marbles that are associated. Because there are quite a many, you know, possible combinations, even if you figure out their location. And therefore, it's one of those things where once you open the dome, there's really no way to close it back up again and get it spinning, at least not that I'm aware of. So it's one thing that is such a bummer that if you're not really being careful at some point, you might hurt yourself and have to look something up or go back to an earlier save or something. Oh, please, still let there be no one in here. Great. Excellent. Alright, let's head back to the gold dome and see if it works. I hope we have all the information right. Good, that's already up. Great. We need that to go all the way up. And here's all the tubes that lead to the various island domes. And as you can see, it's dead silent, which makes sense since we know now that the domes aren't being powered. Now, how they were spinning, well, that I'm not quite sure about. Oops, wait. I actually didn't want to spin that. That was a mistake. I'm sorry, no. I was supposed to go through and then, oh. That's unfortunate. Well, we're just gonna have to go the long way. I'm sorry, you guys. But, this has been a playthrough where I've been trying to play sort of like I'm playing blind. But once you get to the end of these big puzzles, I just don't feel like it's practical to try to pretend to go through them blind, because there's a lot of time where you're guessing and trying to figure out, and that can be overly frustrating. Now, the reason why I wanted to go with a semi-blind type playthrough, at least like a bit of a mock blind playthrough, if you will, is because I think a big part of this game is figuring out these puzzles and seeing the logic and progression that goes behind that, and the wandering around, just exploring things and trying to figure things out. And I feel like when people just already know the puzzles and it's really obvious, and they just kind of blow through the game really quickly, somebody watching might miss some of the really intelligent puzzles and how it all fits within the world. And so that is why I've been sort of doing that method, and I've decided to go with that. But this whole episode has been the let's talk about the puzzles, and it's really just not possible at this point for me to explain these well while trying to do the process of elimination and things, because they're very, very tough to explain. So here we are at the grid. As you can see, this is kind of a similar grid to what we're looking at Plateau Island. And these are the different island shapes. So let's go through and put in the marbles based on what we know. As I turn to, I feel like there's no way you could memorize this. Have a journal if you play this game. Do yourself a favor. All right, so let's do Jungle Island first. This is the big one. Jungle Island's dome was in this section down here, this square, and it had a red, the dome here, where I'm pointing right now, and it was associated with the color red. So let's put that there. Excellent. This L shape here, that was Plateau Island, yes, and that was, the dome was in this section, this bigger block here. And the orange dome color marble should go here because that's where the dome was. So, orange. Excellent. Up here, we have Crater Island. Crater Island, the dome, the big square that the dome was in was this big square. And right here where I'm pointing right now is where we found the dome to be. And we actually didn't know what color it was. But there's only 6 colors here, and we know 5 of them. We know red, orange, blue, and green, and yellow. But we don't know purples. So, process of elimination says that the unknown color that was burnt out in the fish tank must be purple, because that is the only one left. Alright, also up here we have this Temple Island, and the dome was in this big square, and the marble goes up in the upper left hand corner because that is where the dome was at. Now, the tricky one. This is an unknown 5th island that we actually haven't been to, so we don't know which color is associated with the marble. And actually, this is something that I actually don't know off the top of my head either. So, what we're going to do is what I've done every time I've played this, so we're going to guess. We know where it goes, and we have a 50-50 shot of getting it right. So if we let it go down, and it doesn't work, we'll just switch the marble. Hopefully we won't have to do this again. And if we get it wrong, if this is wrong both times, well, then I screwed something up. Ta-da! Oh goodness, 50-50 shot and we got it first try. That's great. And you hear that hum? That means it worked. Oh, that was nerve-wracking. We did it! Oh, and you might say, why are you nerve-wracked if you've actually done this before? Because there are so many things you can get wrong in that puzzle. Like one marble you get wrong and that's it, you know? Then you're, out of luck. Now, this will pretty much be the end of the episode. But we are going to head toward our next destination, which is Gen's linking book. Now we can go to any dome, and it doesn't actually matter. We can go to any of the domes here on any of these islands that we found. Open the combination, because we now know that, and use the linking books. Awesome. Alright. Guess we could go down this way. So we're gonna head that way, and then we're gonna end the episode. Oh, I'm exhausted from those puzzles. Those are doozies. But now, we get to go back to being explorers and learn new things. Which is very exciting. Are you excited? I'm excited. You should be. In fact, I'm going to take this at the end of this episode, open this again, and then we are going to end it looking at the new powered up book. Ooh. Alright, let's do 22, 17, 15, 14, there's a lot of teens in there, isn't there? 2. I said it backwards at time because you're sliding them that way. Open Domini! Oh, okay, now let's see if there's a sign that this is powered. I hope. It's very dramatic. Alright, this kind of looks like it did before. Oh, but look at that. Now, that's a taste of where we're going next. I wonder what would cause those rocks to form like that. There must have been... The water must have been much higher at some point. It's pretty crazy. But now we know that the book is powered. I can't, there we go. Let's back up. And I will see you guys in the next video.